Shannon, scale of 1 to 10 before Skip jumps in here. How big of a loss is this for us Cowboys?
Well, he is a tremendous player, and I believe someday he will be enshrined in Canton, Ohio, with the consistency that he's played with. He's been a multiple-time first-team All-Pro. He's been a multiple-time Pro Bowl player. But I think the thing is, Skip, is that since Dak Prescott has become the starter, Tyron Smith has missed an average of 3 games per season. He missed 6 games last year. He missed 14 games the year before, and the injuries are starting to come with greater regularity. They're keeping him out for extended periods of time. I thought Terrence Steele filled in and did a great job for him last year. But the problem that it creates, Skip, is that you were solidified. You like, we got a left tackle, penciled in. We got a right guard, penciled in. We got our right tackle, penciled in. The uncertainty was at the center and the left guard position. Now with Ty Smith out, you're probably going to bump Terrence Steele back to the left tackle. You solidified at right guard with Zach Martin. Now you've created a little bit more drama. Now, Tyler Smith, the first-round draft pick, do you bump him at right tackle? Because you was hoping that he would be able to take over the left guard spot, the center position. So, Skip, what you've done is that you created more issues when you only had 2, now you have 3. I believe Terrence Steele can fill in at the left tackle position. When he first went down, Skip, a non-contact injury, the first thing goes to my mind, is this an ACL or is it an Achilles injury? Knee, yeah, I was thinking knee, but I wasn't thinking this kind of knee. I wasn't thinking hamstring attachment to the back of the knee that rolls up and now all of a sudden it has to be reattached. That thought didn't enter my mind. I follow Clarence Hill Jr., who said, I saw Tyron Smith walk off of his own power, seen him leave the stadium, and everybody breathed a sigh of relief. Well, that's not what they're breathing this morning. So for me, Skip, I went to a 6 because I do believe Terrence Steele can do an adequate job at the left tackle position, but it creates a spot at the right tackle. Do they believe Tyler Smith, the guy that got created the most offensive holding calls last year for an offensive lineman, do they believe he's ready to step up and play that spot? That is a big responsibility. Then now is it McGovern at the left guard, and then McGovern. And at the center position, Skip. I don't believe, because Jerry was talking about, and you said, they're going to go back to Zeke. Zeke's going to rush with about 80 yards a game. That's not happening. That's not happening now. And it puts more pressure on Dak to get the ball out of his hand quicker, because although I do believe Terrence Steele can do an adequate job, your left guard and your right tackle could be cause for concern. I'm going to go a 6 because I'm not going to go any higher for the simple fact they have played without Ty Smith. But normally they had other guys, more veteran-proven guys, to fill in. Remember what happened last time, Skip, with Ty Smith, when the first time he started missing this time in Atlanta. You remember what happened when Dak went down to Atlanta and he got sacked like 8 times, and one of them was by 6 times by Claiborne, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go 6. I believe they can overcome this. It's early enough in the season, and Terrence Steele will move to the left tackle, and I think he'll do a serviceable job. But I'm concerned about the right tackle position because it's probably going to be the rookie, Tyler Smith.
Okay, it is now my turn. First of all, allow me to put in perspective, as a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, the roller coaster I have already ridden, and we're still 2 weeks away from opening night. Just think about, Shannon, what I've had to go through, to live through or die through this very week. Remember, last Saturday night, it's Kevontae Turpin. He falls out of heaven into our laps, the USFL MVP. He takes a kickoff to the house. He takes a punt to the house. He's wearing number 2, looking a little like Dion on punt and kickoff returns, the Dion of Atlanta days. And I am out of my mind, overjoyed, thinking, wait a second, we have a new, now not so secret weapon. We have some new electricity, some new nuclear voltage that we can play on offense as a slot receiver, as a reverse runner, and obviously as a kick returner. And it was a very happy night for me, because all of a sudden it looked like, wait a second, maybe we did add somebody in the offseason, because I thought we'd added next to nothing and lost way too much. So I thought, okay, here we go. And then was it Tuesday's show? It was Monday night that the Madden simulation comes out. The Madden simulation has the Dallas Cowboys going 12-5, which is what I'm predicting, but had them securing the #1 seed in the NFC and getting all the way to an NFC championship game for the first time in 27 years and playing Jen Hale's New Orleans Saints, losing, not getting to the Super Bowl, but still, thank you, God, getting to an NFC championship game for the first time since it was Aikman and Michael and Emmett. And then I hear yesterday afternoon, Jerry Jones is saying that Michael Gallup, who they just paid, they extended 5 years, $75 million to, that, hey, he's way ahead of schedule. They're not going to put him on the opening season PUP list, that it's possible he would be available for week 1 against Tom Brady and company at Jerry World. So I'm getting more and more excited. And then the bomb dropped. The bombshell dropped overnight. I didn't know it until I got up at 2 o'clock this morning. And first I saw that Smith is gone, and I'm thinking, wait, Tyler Smith is hurt? And then I realized, whoops, it's Tyron Smith. And if we could see the play, if you could roll it again, I know we've been rolling it, but Shannon, it's such a weird play because as you see, as the ball is snapped, he is unchallenged at the line of scrimmage. Nobody lines up across from him at the line of scrimmage. So he immediately breaks off the line into the second level. And as Wolf Hunter is moving to his right, Tyron Smith tries fairly awkwardly to sort of shove block him and didn't really get much of Wolf Hunter, Van Der Esch. But he was off balance, and he was doing something that you rarely see an offensive lineman do, which is actually bolt off the line of scrimmage and run, by his standards, full speed into the second level, into the linebacker level. So it's a weird play that almost never happens, because how many times do you hear an offensive lineman pull a hamstring? Well, rarely, because they don't move like that. That's not the kind of movement that they're undergoing that could threaten a hamstring. But that move that you're seeing on tape does threaten a hamstring, but he didn't just pull it. He didn't just tear it. He tore it off the bone. It's also a fracture of the kneecap, which is why he initially grabbed his knee, and everybody thought, uh-oh, it's an ACL. Right. And then to your point, you're thinking, wait a second, is it an Achilles or what is it? And then Clarence Hill tweets, as did several other of the Cowboy reporters, well, he's walking under his own power in the locker room, so maybe it's going to be okay. Maybe it's not all that bad. Well, it's the worst. It's, Shannon, given this is surgery, this requires major surgery. So they got to
reattach it,
right? Isn't he gone for the year? I'm guessing he's gone for the year. Okay,
Skip, I would definitely think so. But Skip, to your point, when you say Michael Gallup, Skip, do you realize Michael Gallup had surgery in February?
Yep, he did.
And if he came back and played, it'll be 7 months. 7 months, which will be 2 months sooner than when Adrian Peterson played in that historic season?
I don't know. That's why I was heartened yesterday. I know it's a little against all odds, and yet Michael Gallup himself announced the other day, it was a couple of weeks ago, he said, there's no way I'm going to be able to go in week 1 in the opening night game.
Right.
But Jerry is saying we are very hopeful that he could go somewhere within the first 4 games. My point is that's somewhat good news to me. It's better news than waiting until the 8th game. So here's my point. Back to Jen's question. What's the impact of the loss, scale of 1 to 10? Well, seriously, Shannon, it's a 10. But it seems like it's a 10 every year, because back to your point, he's missed 20 games over the last 2 years, and then over the previous 4 to that, he averaged missing 3 games a year. Every year, it's something with Tyron Smith, and he's only 31 years of age, but to me, he's like the oldest 31-year-old in pro football right now, because he seems ancient, because he's always hurt. Something's always wrong, and he's had a back surgery. He's a beat up, close to broken down aging football player who I'm pretty sure is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. And
I definitely think he's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And yet, what's my trust level on his health? Well, it's at a 1. So it's a 10 for a loss, but a 1 on trust. So I pretty much anticipate going into every year over the last 6 years, I'm going to lose him for a big chunk of the year, if not all of the year, because that's just what he's turned into. He's just not going to be available. So I told you to open the show. I'm not going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to give up, because they had to know this was a distinct possibility that he was going to miss at least some games, if not a whole lot. So now I look down at replacements. I have carefully watched this kid, Tyron Smith, that they took out of Tulsa with their first-round pick later in the first round, obviously. But it was a plunge. Mel Kiper did not like it. They left a center on the table who went to Baltimore who could be a perennial Pro Bowler. They left a pass rusher on the table that the Jets swooped right back up in the first round and nabbed, a pass rusher who was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. So all of a sudden I'm saying, you better be right about Tyron Smith. Shannon, when I watch him in preseason, and I watch carefully, he is a flat-out mauler baller. But he gets so over-emotional that he's also a grabber and a thrower. He already had a holding penalty. He actually had 2 holding penalties in the first game, and then he had a false start in the second game. So he's already had 3 penalties, which is no surprise because he led all of college football in penalties last year at Tulsa. But I know that when he was entering the transfer portal, that Alabama was hot to trot on him. And according to one of the coaches I know at Tulsa, that they offered him a lot of NIL money to transfer to Alabama if, in fact, he didn't go into the draft. So he goes into the draft. Dallas swoops up. Will McClay knows what he's doing when it comes to these kids. Now, he's betting on the potential here. He's betting that he'll figure out how to play within the rules. He also has gotten penalties for fighting and, mauling over the edge, over the line after the whistle. And yet the point is, when I watch him, Shannon, he is absolutely fearless. It doesn't bother. He can play at this level, and you can tell by his body language, he knows he's just as big, just as strong, just as powerful as anybody who's on that football field at that point. So my point is, I'm not going to be shocked at all just because he's so confident in his abilities that they go ahead and throw him right in at his natural position, which is left tackle. Again.
No.
I don't know. It'd be a big risk, but I'm telling you, he's got big talent. He's got road grader kind of talent.
Normally, the left tackle, they're the Baryshnikovs.
Yeah.
They're the Gregory Hines.
Okay.
They have the exceptional feet. Now, as a left tackle, I don't necessarily need a mauler. I need somebody graceful. I need Fred Astaire.
Okay.
I need somebody that could do this. And his hands are bad. His feet are bad. He's better positioned for a guard or a right tackle, even though right tackle, you're still on the edge.
You are.
But when you put somebody at the left tackle position, Skip, that guy better be graceful. That guy better be able to kick, be able to close the distance. He got to make sure he can close the distance and not give that guy, because, Skip, these guys out there, they're like receivers. Those defensive ends, they're doing all this. They're dunking. They're bending the edge. And I don't know currently if he's ready to play that position right now. If it was me, I would put Terrence Steele, who has some familiarity with playing the left tackle position. And if anything, I would put him on the right tackle side, because the right tackle is normally your better run blocker. Now, the big kid Trent Williams out in San Francisco can do it all. That's why he has a 99 grade on the Madden, Skip. But you asked me, on a grade of 1 to 10, what's my concern level? Now, if I factor Tyron Smith just going down and what I've seen from the receivers, now I'm going to bump that up to probably 8 or 9, because you got CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, you lost Amari, you lost Cedric Wilson, you're counting on Turpin. We'll see how soon they integrate him, if they integrate him into the offense. Now, if I combine everything that they have going on in the offense, my level of concern goes up a little bit. I don't know if yours goes up any, but mine goes up. It is unfathomable to me that Michael Gallup can have ACL surgery, Skip, and I know the doctors are getting very good with technology and medicine. Man, It's getting so much better than what it was even 5 years ago. Hell, even 2 years ago. But Skip, it got to be a miracle if this man plays inside of 8 months on an ACL that was just repaired in February.
They're getting better and better at these surgeries. And maybe in the biggest picture, this year is meant to be for my Dallas Cowboys. So I know you're Cowboy hating. I know you're rooting against Michael Gallup. I know you're rooting against Tyron Smith.
No.
Not that you're wishing injury upon them, but you want them to come back later than sooner. I know how you're operating here. I know what's your MO.
Well, Skip, with Ty Smith, getting back in December, man, that's for a big guy, a guy that's 300 plus pounds, to come back off a hamstring injury that they're gonna have to reattach is not an easy task.
No.
And Ty Smith is the car, Skip, if the warranty wears out. You know exactly when your warranty wears out. Because as long as it's under warranty, you can take it, nothing happens. You never have to take it to the shop. But the day the warranty expires and you do not roll it over, what happens, Skip? It won't crank. You get that fixed and something else. It's always something. And it seems like that's what it is with Ty Smith. Now, as he starts to get older and gets to the end of this contract, everything, he's just falling apart right before our very eyes. But what happened was, Skip, you got to think about all the collisions that he and Zach Martin was in. Remember before they got Zeke, McFadden, and then the other running back that rushed led the league in rushing 18. I forget his name, the Oklahoma guy, Skip. Mm-hmm. How much they ran the football, how many collisions those guys with Tony Romo, and then when McFadden came, and then when Dak came in and Zeke ran the ball, how much he ran the ball his first 3 years. Skip, he has a little bit more wear and tear. Oh, excuse me, let me take that back. He has a lot more wear and tear than the average 31-year-old offensive lineman because of how many collisions he was in.
I understand. It's DeMarco Murray was the other one, but the point is,
DeMarco, yes.
Okay, the point is, I get you about wear and tear. What happened last night was freak. That's not a wear and tear injury.
Yes.
That's just like, I can't explain it. I don't know. The injury god said, no, you're out. Okay. So
as you get older, the injuries get freakier and freakier.
You could argue that. And I'm with you. I don't depend on Tyron Smith. I didn't 2 days ago. I didn't last week or last month. I just didn't depend on him. I knew he'd be gone for some games this year, and now it sounds like it's the whole year. I'm going to go one more level deeper on the depth chart, and I want you to remember this name because I think it's a significant name, Josh Ball. 2 years ago, they stole him in the 4th round. He started out his career at Florida State, and he was earmarked by many of the draft scouts as a first-round pick of a left tackle. He has all the measurables. He is everything you could ever want in a left tackle, playing at a big school program, obviously, in Florida State. And here we go again. He had a domestic violence issue, and he wound up at Marshall, as he did not last in the program at Florida State because of said issue. My point is, because of that, once again, Jerry Jones steals somebody in a lower round because of some off-the-field issue. So I guess he's going to fit right in with the Dallas Cowboys. But I would not bet against him because they are raving about him in camp. He's got a shot. I know he's completely raw and unproven at this level, but all the abilities are there. All the measurables, all the potential that you could ever want is in Josh Ball right now as the future at left tackle, if in fact it's not Tyler Smith. They also, with that Amari pick that they got, it was only the 5th rounder, but they took that Matt Waletzko out of North Dakota, who is 6 feet 8 inches tall. I don't like him nearly as much as Josh Ball. But the point is, I think Jerry and Will McClay have done a very good job of bolstering the depth. There's that Matt Farniok, who every time he gets in a preseason game, he mauls somebody. He's now the backup center and a backup guard. And Connor, you mentioned Connor McGurban. Okay, I'm just saying they're deeper in the offensive line than people give them credit for. And I know we're talking about the blindside protector, the most crucial bodyguard for Dakota, Dak Prescott. I still think Dak's going to have a big year. I still think that Zeke's going to have a big year. I think you can figure this out because I do not think that Tyron Smith was what he used to be anyway. I think he was playing a little more on reputation than certainly he did earlier in his career. He's now going into his 12th season. So for the first 6 or 7 seasons, he was a Hall of Famer. Since then, he's been a battered sort of shell of himself. And again, I believe they can put one of these younger players in there if, in fact, they don't move Steele, flip him over to the left side, and be okay. I think we will get by. I think we will figure it out. I still think we are going to be a very good team. I think the Eagles will push them in the division, but they should still win the division. I believe they're going to win a home playoff game. I believe in the Madden projection. So, again, I'm not going to lose heart or lose hope over a terrible injury suffered by Tyron Smith.
Here's a name that you probably should keep in mind. Eric Fisher is still available on the free agent market. He's the #1 overall pick, played a number of years in Kansas City, went to the Pro Bowl, spent last year at Indy. He's available. He's a left tackle. He's a proven left tackle. That's his natural position. It's a name we probably should keep an eye on. Not saying Jerry would do it, but I think if things gets a little dicey, Skip, because you keep saying maulers, that's not really what you want at the left tackle. You want someone ballerina-esque. You want someone light on their feet. And I don't know if I want Tyler Smith. I don't know if I want one of these unproven guys protecting Dak's blind side. So we'll see how this thing's going to work out, but you can't feel as good today as you felt yesterday.
I do feel. Much. In fact, I might even feel better than yesterday. And to your
no, you don't. No, you don't.
I do. To your last point, Jerry just doesn't go out and snap people up out of desperation. He just doesn't do it because he's draft and develop. His claim to fame is he's the man with the plan in the draft room on draft night. He's the last line of defense for the Dallas Cowboys. He makes all the decisions based on what he's told, obviously. So he wants to prove to everybody that they have drafted among the elite over the last 10, 15 years.
Okay, you do. I'm going to let you use your false bravado. I'm going to let you use your false enthusiasm. I feel as good today, yesterday, tomorrow.
I'm good to go. And you are still in trouble, and I'm still a very happy camper. Thank you very much. And by the way, I still got this guy on my side. Remember this guy?
Man, there you go.
Remember this guy? We have him on our side here on Undisputed. So do the Dallas Cowboys. They got 11 from heaven. As long as I got this guy, I'm good to go. Yeah. He can play left tackle. He might moonlight at left tackle this year. He just might.
Okay.
Because he is light on his feet.
Yeah, he is.
If only he could play both sides of the ball, consistency.
Yep. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.